Well, it appears the U.S. is doing everything it can to restart the war in Afghanistan and to make it as difficult as possible to withdraw the troops, which were already supposed to be out, by the way. The deal that was made with the Taliban by Zalmay Khalilzad on behalf of President Donald Trump stated that the troops had to be out by May the 1st, and that up until that date, the Taliban were not going to there was going to be a ceasefire. The Taliban were not going to attack any Americans. The Taliban can continue their war against other people in Afghanistan, just not the Americans. The Taliban held to that up until May 1st, and to me, Joe Biden's moving of the date to September the 11th, 2021, seemed to be a naked strategy to bait the Taliban into attacking the U.S. because the U.S. broke the deal, and then using that as justification to just stay in Afghanistan in perpetuity. Now, even before all that, the Biden administration is making it clear that they have no intentions to sort of disengage from Afghanistan. They still want to be heavily involved there. They still want to reserve the right to bomb Afghanistan, but they're just going to pull out their ground troops and things. And as well, I guess, vacate the bases, like, I always forget the name of the big one there. But the idea is they'll officially hand everything over to the Kabul government, which, is probably as certain to fall as Saigon was when the U.S. pulled out of there. But unlike in the Vietnam situation, the U.S. made it clear that no, we're not going back. This is it. You see that helicopter lift off from the rooftop of the embassy in Saigon, and that's it. No more Americans in Vietnam ever. No more American activity in Vietnam. We've had enough. But the Biden administration has made it clear they will not be doing that with Afghanistan. This is sort of a soft withdrawal, or how did he call it? Something like a withdrawal, but not a pullout. You get the point. Well, to that end, the U.S. military is apparently planning to start bombing the Taliban, even though the ceasefire has not been broken by their side yet. The Taliban's inflicting a lot of carnage. They're doing a lot of stuff. They've got their military operations going on in Afghanistan, but they have yet to attack any Americans since the end of the ceasefire. But the U.S. now, I guess, since they realize, well, the ceasefire is already broken, so we may as well start killing Taliban again, is planning to bomb the Taliban on behalf of the Kabul government. And so I guess the Americans are not confident that simply breaking the withdrawal date on the deal would be enough to provoke the Taliban into retaliating and inflicting some kind of damage that would lead to the death of American soldiers. It's really quite morbid that what their goal here, the U.S. military, is for the Taliban to kill American soldiers. They want to sacrifice a couple of pawns to use them as martyrs to justify the continuation of this war. There's no other explanation, in my view, as to why the U.S. military would be working so hard to antagonize the Taliban at a time in which the U.S. is already in breach of the agreement. As of yet, there's still a chance to rebuild relations with the Taliban and to save, this peace deal. But the Taliban, if they're smart enough to have not attacked any American soldiers so far, perhaps this still will not be enough to bait them, and maybe they'll just take out their rage by inflicting more casualties upon troops, loyal to the Kabul government. However, given the decentralized nature of the Taliban and the fact that they're a bunch of nomadic tribesmen, essentially, and that they are, Sunnis with rifles wandering the plains, or I guess the hills, mountains, whatever they have in Afghanistan, there is, I think, almost a certainty that you will have, at the very least, lone wolves, if not rogue platoons, if you can even call them that, of militiamen who are nominally under the Taliban authority, breaking from the the higher-ups' commands to, not attack Americans, getting angry at the way the Americans have betrayed the peace deal and taking out some Americans. And so I think we're in a very precarious position for this, and I don't see how the Taliban are going to be able to maintain that kind of discipline while the Americans are just spitting in their face. How they're going to be able to keep every single one of their soldiers in line. The Taliban just isn't a disciplined military force in that sense. But hopefully I'm wrong in that sense. And hopefully the Taliban are able to refrain from taking the bait here. And they are able to make it to the end of this period and sort of force Biden's hand. Because he already spoke in pretty definitive terms when he said, hey, we're going to be out by September 11th, period. You could say, hey, well, Biden also said we're going to be out by 2014, period. But again, this is a much shorter timetable that he gave, and he made a big speech on TV, and he's the president. So I think that this is a more definitive thing. He has to do something, unless he has a really, really good excuse. Like he can just, wave the bloody shirt of a few dead American soldiers who were killed by the Taliban in retaliation for all this stuff going on right now. Unless he can find a situation like that to exploit, I don't see how the Biden folks are going to be able to get out of mostly pulling the troops out. So, as I feel like I've been saying ad nauseum for the past few months, the situation in Afghanistan is looking more and more grim. All hope is not lost yet, but with every new development that comes out of that country, I have less and less hope that things are going to change. But like I said, there's still a chance that things, end in a somewhat positive manner. Although how positive of an end, to war can there be after 20 years and however many thousands dead? But I will, keep a close eye on this, and, that date of September 11th is going to creep up on us, and we'll see if by then things are still looking like they're on track. As of now, the Pentagon says that the withdrawal is between 2 and 6% complete, which is, we're barely there. Of course, there's very few troops there to begin with left anymore. Not like there used to be. So, it should be pretty easy. It just, you could put them all on, a few ships, I would think, and sail out of there. So, I think I'll end it on that note.